In the heart of a bustling city, within the sleek glass walls of an architectural firm, Emma stood at the threshold of her dreams. For years, she had dedicated tireless hours, her creativity flowing like the ink on her blueprints. Yet, every time a promotion seemed within reach, it slipped through her fingers like sand. Across the open office, under the fluorescent glare of the lights, sat her rival, Sarah. With her sharp wit and effortless charm, Sarah seemed to effortlessly ascend the corporate ladder, leaving Emma to wallow in her shadows. It wasn't just the promotion that gnawed at Emma's insides. It was the insidious envy that twisted her heart each time Sarah's name was praised in board meetings, each time her designs were lauded as groundbreaking. One fateful Tuesday morning, as Emma sipped her lukewarm coffee, a seed of darkness sprouted in her mind. The promotion was once again on the horizon, and she vowed that this time, it would be hers. Research became Emma's obsession. She into the darkest corners of the internet, hunting for the perfect poison. Late into the night, her computer screen glowed with illicit knowledge as she learned about untraceable toxins and their deadly effects. Her eyes fixated on a tiny vial, its contents promising to silence her competition permanently. With trembling fingers, she made the purchase, the vial arriving in an innocuous package a week later. The office holiday party presented the perfect opportunity. Champagne flowed like rivers, laughter echoing off the office walls. Emma watched Sarah from afar, her smile a facade for the venom that brewed within her. With practiced ease, Emma slipped the poison into Sarah's drink, the liquid swirling with deadly intent. She watched, heart pounding, as Sarah took a sip, unaware of the danger lurking in her glass. Days passed like a blur as Emma waited, the weight of her actions pressing down on her like a leaden sky. The office buzzed with anticipation as the promotion announcement loomed closer. Then came the news, delivered in hushed tones and somber faces. Sarah had fallen ill, rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Panic gripped Emma's heart, her mind a whirlwind of guilt and fear. As Sarah fought for her life in the sterile confines of the hospital, Emma's facade of ambition crumbled. Each passing hour brought a tidal wave of regret, the once enticing promotion now a bitter reminder of her treachery. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's condition slowly improved. The guilt weighed heavily on Emma's shoulders, a shadow she could not shake. She visited Sarah in the hospital, the words of apology catching in her throat. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. The promotion was hers, the title she had coveted for so long now an empty victory. As she sat in her new office, the view of the city below no longer brought joy. Instead, it served as a stark reminder of the depths to which she had sunk. In the silence of her office, Emma opened a drawer, retrieving the vial that had brought her so much anguish. With trembling hands, she poured its contents down the sink, watching as the poison disappeared into the swirling water. As the sun set over the city, casting an orange glow across the skyline, Emma made a vow. She would spend the rest of her days making amends, using her talents for good rather than greed. For in the end, she had learned a bitter lesson. Ambition, fueled by envy and deceit, was a poison far deadlier than any vial she could ever hold. And as she looked out at the city below, Emma knew that redemption was a journey she was willing to take. The weight of guilt and remorse had become unbearable for Emma. Night after sleepless night, she tossed and turned, haunted by the spectre of her actions. The image of Sarah lying in the hospital bed, pale and fragile, pierced her heart like a dagger. One afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows across the office, Emma made a decision. With a resolve she hadn't felt in weeks, she marched towards the CEO's office, the vial of poison a heavy weight in her pocket. The CEO, a stern figure with a reputation for no-nonsense decisions, looked up in surprise as Emma entered. Her voice quivered slightly as she spoke, the words tumbling out in a rush. I can't accept the promotion, Emma began, her eyes downcast. I don't deserve it. Sarah does? The CEO raised an eyebrow, studying Emma with a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. What do you mean, Emma? He asked, gesturing for her to take a seat. Emma took a deep breath, the weight of her confession pressing down on her chest. I tried to sabotage Sarah, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I poisoned her drink at the holiday party. Shock rippled across the CEO's face, his expression hardening into disbelief. Why would you do such a thing? He asked, his voice tinged with anger. Tears welled up in Emma's eyes as she recounted her envy, her desperation for the promotion that always seemed just out of reach. She spoke of the dark thoughts that had consumed her, the relentless pursuit of success at any cost. I thought I wanted this promotion more than anything, Emma said, her voice filled with anguish. But I see now that it's not worth it. Sarah is the one who deserves it. She's talented, hardworking, everything I'm not. The CEO listened in silence, his eyes softening with understanding. He could see the genuine remorse in Emma's eyes, the weight of her mistake bearing down on her shoulders. After a long moment of contemplation, the CEO nodded slowly. I appreciate your honesty, Emma, he said, his voice measured. I will take your confession into consideration. With a heavy heart, Emma left the CEO's office, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. She didn't know what would happen next, didn't know if her confession would lead to forgiveness or condemnation. Days passed in a haze of uncertainty. Emma watched anxiously as Sarah returned to work, her strength and resilience a stark contrast to Emma's own guilt-ridden state. Then, one morning, Emma received an unexpected email from the CEO. He requested her presence in his office, and with trembling hands, she made her way down the familiar corridors. As she entered the CEO's office, Emma's heart pounded in her chest. The CEO sat behind his desk, a serious expression on his face. Emma, he began, his voice grave. I have thought long and hard about your confession. What you did was wrong, there's no denying that. But your honesty speaks volumes. Emma nodded, unable to meet his gaze. After much consideration, I have decided to give the promotion to Sarah. The CEO said, his voice steady. She has shown incredible strength and resilience, and she deserves this opportunity. A wave of relief washed over Emma, tears springing to her eyes. She had expected this outcome, had hoped for it with all her heart. But, the CEO continued, his voice softening. I also believe in second chances. You made a terrible mistake, Emma, but you have shown true remorse? I am willing to give you a chance to redeem yourself.